Hi folks, I'm Alan Watt and we're cutting through the matrix. Last week I was talking about, again, the fertility rates dropping and plummeting, not just in the Western world now, but it's across even in New Zealand, Australia, and different countries. Suddenly, within a span of 10 to 20 years, the sperm count had just plummeted. Now, when something like that would happen in a real society, there would be a crisis, there'd be a call out there to find out what on earth was going on, because this would be a crisis situation. When they simply quote the statistics from the United Nations every year about the plummeting sperm count in males and have no comment to make up on it, you know it's an agenda. And I've told people before, we're purposely being sterilized, and you have to go into the eugenics movements and the big backers of it, the aristocracy, guys like Huxley, who were heavily involved in drawing up plans and drafting up plans to go ahead with the sterilization of vast amounts of people, to find out that they've actually been doing it. Now, obviously, since we're too dumb and stupid at the bottom, the common people, to just accept our place and be sterilized quietly, we make a big noise about it, then they have to do it with stealth. In other words, you don't tell the children what you're doing. You just go ahead and do it. And that's what they have been doing to us for a long time. It's the same with the vaccinations. The vaccinations, I'm sure, are basically weaponized materials which can go right into the body and attack specific parts of it, even during and prior to puberty, and alter things drastically. I read the article last week on the phthalates and so on that are in cosmetics that women use, and with soaps and shampoos, etc., and how it affects the male fetus in the womb between the ages of about 8 and 12 weeks, and basically causes so many genital defects. It's just incredible. This is done on purpose because they knew the effects on these particular chemicals back in the 1930s. Do your homework and you'll be shocked. And then you have to ask yourself, why are they still using them? Eventually you have to just accept the fact that everything that's happening is done deliberately, not just for big bucks. That's the common way to mislead you, that it's just for big profits and big bucks. No, there's always another reason behind it. And if the elite didn't want this to happen to the public, it would not happen. Believe you me, it would not happen. Here's an article along the similar lines here on something that's related to this from the Wall Street Journal, October the 23rd, 2008. Toys containing banned plastic still on market. Restrictions on phthalates don't take effect until 2009. Fears of reproductive defects by Nicholas Casey and Melanie Trotman. In February, 25,000 rubber ducks and Craig wolves in inventory will be illegal to sell because they contain chemicals called phthalates, which some studies indicate harm early childhood development. Some of them will call it phthalatates and phthalates. Depends on who's telling you the story. It says, so the toy maker is liquidating what he can, discounting stock to stores that can place big orders. He hasn't destroyed novelty ducks, he says, because he believes the phthalates are safe. We never have any problems, he said. And that's your typical psychopathic answer, isn't it? He must rationalize what he's doing for profit. The flood of ducks hitting the market now, along with other toys that contain this chemical, is an unintended consequence of a law aimed at avoiding potential hazards precisely like this one. Last summer, after a spate of recalls, Congress overhauled the mandate of the Consumer Protection Safety Commission, the government's consumer watchdog agency, and ushered in big changes like tougher manufacturing standards for all-terrain vehicles and new limits on lead. 3 types of phthalates, where chemical additives that render hard plastics flexible, will be banned from children's toys and child care products starting February 10th, while 3 other types of this will be temporarily prohibited from child care products and toys that can be placed in a child's mouth. Consumer advocates complain that the law has ended up sanctioning a grace period that allows toy makers to sell off soon-to-be-banned toys rather than forcing them to dispose of them. This holiday season is going to be buyer beware, says Elizabeth Hitchcock of the U.S. Public Interest Research Group. And as I say, it's just astonishing to know that they've known the effects of these particular chemicals, which act just like hormones, since at least the 1930s, and did medical studies and reports on them. And you wonder why we're all being bioengineered, how physically we're altering the male and the female, which falls right in with Charles Galton Darwin's agenda in the 1950s. He said they'd have to target the hormone structures of male and female. Well, they've been doing it. They have been doing, and they still are doing it. And if you ever get anyone who's ever had a walk around, a tour around one of the big pharmaceutical companies that make vaccines, let me know, because these places are like military camps with the security, massive high security. They don't release much to the public about how they make the vaccines. It's very hush-hush. It's hush-hush as the Pentagon, basically. That should get your hair in the back of your neck up to start with, for people who just want to help you, but they can't tell you what they're using to help you. People have got to start thinking for themselves and waking up very fast and participating in their life, their destiny, and the real reality that they should be creating, the one that really exists, the one that gets you past the horror phase and into incredible indignation. That's where they've got to go, or we're all done for. Long-term plans, intergenerational plans, that's how the big foundations, working on behalf of the elite and the aristocracy, that's how they work. Long-term goals. They work in centuries, but now they're on a roll to reduce us rather quickly.